Hiya! Welcome! Continuing a look at some recent DVDs and a Blu-ray that I've bought. The DVDs are all comedy related. The Blu-ray isn't, but I thought as it's a BFI edition and I've not shown any of my BFI collection on the channel for a little while, I'd just include it in this video. And to be honest, it's not just Blu-ray and DVD. The mail open at the end, there is a couple of CDs in that. But anyway, we'll get to all of that as it comes. First of all, I'll show you 3 pickups from eBay, all from different sellers. First one, very impulsive purchase this, but if you hark back to the video I made last month where I'd got a haul of cheap comedy DVDs from World of Books on eBay, you'll remember that 2 of the 8 discs from the American Pie box set were missing. So I ordered the missing films from the set right after shooting that. And once again, there was like an offer where if you bought 2, you got a third free. And I was looking, thinking, well, what shall I get really? And I ended up picking this Johnny Vegas live DVD, Who's Ready for Ice Cream? The bump on the back says Johnny Vegas has crawled his way to the top of the showbiz ladder. Fame, wealth and awards are his, but there's a problem, a big problem. He's lost his edge. He's no longer funny and the fans have begun to take notice. So the reason I chose this, really, I've never been a massive fan of Johnny Vegas. Never seen him live, never watched a full stand-up show of his, just kind of seen him on panel shows and things like that, really. But I decided I would get this because I know that Stuart Lee, who, as viewers of previous videos will attest to, I am a massive fan of, Stuart Lee actually directed this. I don't think he appears on it, you know, it's kind of Stuart Lee adjacent, goes in that collection of a fashion. So for a free DVD really, picked up with the 2 American Pie films I was missing, why not? Comes with a booklet. Well, I say booklet, it's just that actually. Single-sided insert there. Whether I'll enjoy this or not, I don't know. I could certainly think of many stand-up comics who I wouldn't want to see ahead of Johnny Vegas, so he's got that in his favour anyway. So I'll watch this at some point. Who's Ready for Ice Cream? This one is rather more Stuart Lee centric, and it's actually a double set this. It's a DVD and a CD. I was going to show this in the next Records Roundup, which should be along pretty soon on the channel, but I thought no, the DVD's the main thing, so I'll show it in this one. But there is a soundtrack album that's included, and it is King Rocker. Now I have seen this before. I remember it was on Sky Arts, I think maybe 6 months to a year after it came out at the cinema. I think cinema wise it was 2020, and then it had its TV broadcast the following year. And it is a documentary that's directed by Michael Cumming, and I think written, and certainly all the interviews are done by him on this as well, Stuart Lee. Very interesting documentary about, what's his name, Robert Lloyd and his band The Nightingales, and I think also it touches upon his previous band The Prefects as well. Nice package this actually. I think this is the only format in which the physical film comes in this double set here, but opens out and it's basically a book but with some pockets for the 2 discs. Some nice photos there. Good film this, been some years since I've seen it. I've got no particular interest in the Nightingales as a music act. I think, you know, I could probably fairly easy get into their music, but never really been motivated to really. As this is really for my Stuart Lee collection, I thought I would get this. So the film is on that disc, and then at the back we've got the soundtrack CD, which is essentially a Nightingales compilation album, I suppose. Yeah, original soundtrack by the Nightingales, it says on the disc. It's the film I got it for, but it's nice that, you know, I can put a Nightingales album on the soundtrack to King Rocker after I've seen the film, or before, whichever I decide to do. But really, it's all about Stu in this case. It's got the track listing on the back, by the way. Michael Cumming, who's the director and collaborator with Stu on this. Big fan of a lot of his previous work. So, big recommendation from me. I'm looking forward to seeing King Rocker again and hearing the album. Last thing from eBay. Now, this isn't comedy. This is the thing that I just threw into this video, as I haven't shown any BFI, British Film Institute pickups, for a little while. And I still collect them. I've kind of ramped down my collecting because I've been collecting mostly comedy DVD of late, as you know. But I still look out for good BFI bargains, and here's one, The Firm. I've seen this before, I think maybe twice. I did actually own the DVD once upon a time, but I collect BFI Blu-rays, or the dual editions that come in Blu-ray style packaging. And I thought, you know what, I enjoyed this, so I'm going to add it to the collection again. Gary Oldman from 1989, directed by Alan Clark. It's a football hooligan film. I think a lot of people will be familiar with this. Was it a TV film originally? Because obviously it's got the BBC logo, so it's certainly a BBC production. Maybe it got a limited cinema release. I'm just looking to see who else was in this. Leslie Manville, who of course was Gary Oldman's wife once upon a time. Phil Davis is in this as well. A few familiar faces from what I remember. I do believe Steve McFadden, Phil Mitchell from EastEnders, has a small role in this as well. Comes in a slipcase. Can't call it comedy, obviously. I think there's some vaguely amusing moments in it, but then again, it's mostly rather violent. No booklet. I'm assuming it didn't actually come with a booklet when it was reissued in this form. Good film if you're into kind of your Green Street, Football Factory, ID type football hooligan movies, which I do like. Some of them are better than others, but they're all kind of watchable in a very sort of frivolous way. I think this one is one of the originals, really, given it being the late 80s, and arguably the best, I would say, as well. So looking forward to seeing The Firm again. On now to a pickup from Sex.
Sex.
And I thought I want to get this really because it goes with part of my comedy collection. I streamed this and the second season when it came out on Paramount Plus. Big fan, have been a big fan of this character and the original show that he was on. Well, not the original, because that was Cheers, there's your clue. But the spin-off from Cheers. Of course, I'm talking about Frasier. This is season 1 of the rebooted Frasier. Bit disappointing this didn't come out on Blu-ray, but that does tend to happen with a lot of releases now. I think because there's still certain TV production companies who think that people don't buy physical media anymore. They'll just kind of put something out that's streamed recently on Paramount or Netflix, Prime, etc., Disney Plus. They'll put it out on like a very bog standard DVD and nothing else. Whereas obviously this was broadcast in HD, at least, could even have been 4K on Paramount Plus when it came out a few years ago. Everyone knows who Frasier Crane is, I won't go on too long, but this is the revival or the reboot that sees Frasier back in Boston, of course, where he lived in the Cheers days. I've got the original Frasier complete box set, all 11 seasons. Brilliant set, but Frasier is marvellous. I believe all the original series is available to stream on Paramount Plus. I'm not actually a Paramount Plus customer anymore. I may resubscribe to them when something comes out on there that I want to see, that obviously I either can't or won't buy physically. But because I've got the original Frasier on DVD, I thought I would get season 1 as well. This was pretty cheap from Sex. It's 2 discs, it was about a £5, I think, and then a couple of quid in postage. Season 1. And of course I had to buy season 2 as well. This was from HMV, rather more expensive. The reason I didn't get this from Sex is because the price at Sex for a second-hand copy was about the same. In fact, with postage, I think it would have ended up more than £17.99. Weird that season 1 was a £5 or whatever, and this was more than triple the price. Brand new and sealed from HMV. Did have a couple of quid off it, originally £20. I'm assuming this is 2 discs again. Of course, there's a cast on the back. It got cancelled after 2 seasons. Now, was it as good as the original Frasier? No. The original Frasier is in a league of its own. It's one of the best US sitcoms of all time, really. Top 3 for me, certainly. But it had its moments, this. I think it was a little bit underrated, really. Yes, there were certain people from the original Frasier who maybe should have made at least a cameo appearance in the reboot who didn't. The new characters who were introduced were certainly pretty good for the most part, and it's a shame that it got cancelled after 2 seasons, as I think Kelsey Grammer was keen to move forward with it. Will we see any more of Frasier in some form or another in the future? I'd say probably not. This might be a swan song now, but who knows? Never say never. Also from HMV, at the same time that I ordered Frasier Reboot Season 2, I got this. American Pie Girls Rule, or Girls Rules I should say. This was cheap, this was like £6-7, free postage with Frasier. I didn't actually know this existed. Of course, I'd bought the American Pie box set from eBay last month. When I was looking up on Wikipedia, just kind of going through the sort of order in which all the American Pie and the spin-offs came in, I saw that one had come out in 2020, which had totally passed me by. Another spin-off that's straight to DVD, didn't get a Blu-ray release. I'm not expecting great things from this. I have seen all the American Pie films, including the spin-offs recently, and the spin-offs don't hold up well at all, if they ever did, really. The proper American Pie films, I've always got a lot of time for them. But this one, yeah, I just kind of got it to be a completist, really. I think they may be releasing a new spin-off at some point, and there's supposed to be the alleged, rumoured American Funeral, but I don't know if that's even been confirmed. That's obviously going to be a proper sequel to American Reunion, if it happens. Anyway, can't really say anything else about that. Not massively looking forward to it, but it was cheap, and it goes in my American Pie library. Right, we can now close out with a mail opening, and you've seen one CD already today, even though this video doesn't particularly advertise the fact that I'm showing compact discs. But there is, I think, 2 more CDs in here and a DVD. This is an order from Go Faster Stripe. £12 for each of these 3 things in here, and the DVD is on top, so we'll look at that. And it is 9 Lessons and Carols for Godless People. There you can see Robin Ince, the comedian, on the front. And the reason I got this, I wasn't desperate for it, obviously, but you might be able to see him there, I think, where my finger is. Stuart Lee does feature on this, along with many other comedians. I'll read a bit of the bump on the back, so it might explain more of what this is. Welcome to my folly, declares Robin Ince, as he opens 9 Lessons, his massive sellout rationalist celebration of comedy and science for Christmas. And then it goes on about a star-studded lineup, including Richard Dawkins, Stuart Lee, Richard Herring, Izzy Suttie, Ben Goldacre, Andrew Collins, blah 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 blah. There's also interview contributions from Dara O'Brien and Jarvis Cocker, although they've mistyped Jarvis there and it says Javis. So this came out, I don't know when, and some of the text on here is very small and I can't be bothered to put my glasses on. All the Go Faster Stripe DVDs, I think, tend to come packaged like this, by the way. I say all, I bought Fist of Fun from there and that was packaged more like a normal DVD. But I think that would have had a retail issue at places, whereas this is just basically exclusive to Go Faster Stripe and is produced as cheap as possible. So maybe I'll enjoy this way more than I expect to, but anything involving Stuart Lee I want in my collection, so that's the reason I got it. 2 CDs here, and this looks familiar. It's 10 Lessons and Carols for Godless People. I don't know which came first. I'd assume this came before this, but if anyone out there knows and can correct me, please do. Similarly, I bought this because Stu's on it. He is on disc 2 as it's a 2 CD set, so an audio only show. But as I think I said in a previous video, I would like to get more audio comedy in my collection, so this fits in that, as well as in my Stuart Lee library. Other people who feature on this, who you may know: Josie Long, Richard Herring again, Ed Byrne, Robin Ince, obviously, he's kind of like the creator or head person in all this. Joe Neary, I know, Simon Singh, Al Murray, aka the pub landlord. Well, he won't be the pub landlord in this, I wouldn't have thought. 2 discs, I think they both look like they weigh in at 79 minutes each, so quite a long show. I think it's just one show anyway. Yeah, it was recorded at the Bloomsbury Theatre on the 15th of December 2010. The audio of that particular year's Lessons and Carols, and the DVD for that year's. Last thing, surprised this was for sale at Go Faster, as I didn't think it was anything to do with them, but they've got copies for whatever reason. It is Indeterminacy, John Cage. Now, obviously, as far as being a Stu completist, this is kind of way down at the bottom of the pile of things that I really wanted and was looking forward to, but it features him, so I had to have it really. I'm not going to go on about John Cage and what Indeterminacy is, because I don't really understand it myself. All I know is it's improvised music, improvised words over the music. Stuart Lee's providing the words. Steve Beresford and Tanya Chen are providing piano and objects. £12. I did look at this on Discogs and it was a similar price from sellers on there, so I thought, you know, support Go Faster Stripe anyway with buying those other things. I'll add this to the basket. It's out on Knitted Records, I think that is, from 2012 or 13. I think that's 2012. That's all I've really got to say about it really, another for the Stuart Lee collection. So there we go, that was my comedy, although I don't know if you can class the John Cage thing as comedy, and you certainly can't class The Firm as comedy, although you may find parts of it funny. But I'm lumping this in as another comedy haul of 1 Blu-ray, a fair few DVDs, and also 4 CDs really, as one of those is of course part of the King Rocker set. Anyway, thank you for watching this, hope you enjoyed it, and I want to give special thanks to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm going to go now, lots to get cracking into here, plenty to listen to and to watch over the coming weeks. Some of it, as I've mentioned, I have seen before, and some of it I've never seen or heard before, and I can't say I'm overly excited about parts of this, but who knows, I may be pleasantly surprised by some or all. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do all that, and I do hope that all of you will join me again next time for my next comedy and DVD and Blu-ray collecting video. Cheers everyone. See ya!